Hey everyone, and welcome to your Java example on functions. So for this tutorial, what we're going to be doing is we're going to create a sort of conversion calculator for the metric system and the system we use in the United States, which is called the imperial system. So let's begin by, we're going to need to take in some inputs. So I'm going to begin by importing a java.util util.scanner, the scanner package, and I am going to create a scanner object called input scanner. We're going to set that equal to a new scanner object, which takes an input stream. So we're going to use the system.in input stream, and we have our scanner here. Okay, awesome. I am going to then use our hello world print line to say, welcome to system converter. And actually, let's give it some flair here by using these carets in the end and over here. Yes, that's the good stuff. Okay, so we will say, we'll do another output print line, and we'll say, which system would you like to convert to? And we're going to create a string variable called system, and we're going to set it equal to a empty string up here. And below our question here, we are going to set our system variable equal to the input scanner.next line, which will return a string. And actually in this, we're going to prompt them to say either metric or imperial, so that they know which are the two valid values. Okay, so next we're going to say, we're going to do another print line here, system.out.println, and we're going to say, we're only going to take feet for this program, so we're going to say enter number of feet. So it's a little biased already because we're only taking in imperial measurements, but we'll say enter a number of feet. And then we will create a integer called feet. We're going to initialize it to 0 up here. And then down here, we're going to say feet is equal to input scanner dot next int. And so this will only take integers and give us the right integer. Awesome. So we'll scroll down here, and then we'll say if system dot equals, and we'll say metric. Then here we're going to use our metric conversion, and then below that we'll say else if system dot equals imperial, and we're going to run our imperial conversion here. Cool. And then finally we'll do another else, and this is just going to be, we'll do a system.out.print, and we'll say we don't offer that. Okay, awesome. So sort of like the framework of our program is set up here. All we need to do now is create our functions and then invoke our functions here. So I'm going to go outside of our main method here, right? We can't declare our functions in our main method. Let's go outside and we'll do a static. This is going to return a double, which is a sort of like a decimal data type. If you don't know what a double is, go back to our instructional on data types and variables. So that'll be the type. Our return type is double. Our name will be called metric conversion, and we're going to take in an integer called feet. And in our function body here, we have to sort of convert feet to kilometers. So we will say, we'll do a return, and we'll say feet divided by 3,280.84, I believe. So that's the number of feet in a kilometer, right? So if we put in, and we can't do this because we're taking in an integer, but if we put in this number of feet, it would equal 1 kilometer. So that'll be our conversion. We'll create another conversion function here called imperial conversion. And we're going to take in feet again. And obviously you don't need functions to do this, but it's just a good way to illustrate using multiple functions. So in our imperial conversion, we're going to return a mile, and that is equal to 5,280 feet. So here we have our conversion functions. All we need to do is invoke them in our appropriate conditions here. So I'm going to create in our if statement, I'm going to create in our if statement scope for metric, I'm going to create a variable called kilometers, and we're going to set it equal to metric conversion, and we're going to take in feet, and then we're going to print out print line, and we're going to say, here is your conversion to kilometers. And we're going to print out kilometers here. Perfect. For our imperial conversion, we're going to create a double called miles and set it equal to imperial conversion. We'll take in our feet. We'll use our feet variable up there, which is going to be our input. And we will do a system.out.println, and we will say, here is your conversion to miles, and we'll append the miles variable on there. Awesome. So there we have it. We have our function declarations down here. We have 2 conversion functions, and we've used them in the appropriate if statement scope. We've stored the result of these functions in a variable, and then we print that variable out to the user. So let's run it and see how it looks. Okay, welcome to System Converter. Which system would you like to convert to? Let's start out with metric. We'll say it's 10,000 feet, and that converts to about 3.4047 blah 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 kilometers. Awesome. So let's run it again, and let's try miles now. So we'll say miles. We'll enter in the number of feet. We'll say 10,000. And oh, my bad, I didn't put in. So there we go. Our else statement works. I meant to put in imperial there, but I put in miles because I was thinking of that. So we'll put in imperial. Enter number of feet. We'll say 10,000. And we have 1 as our conversion to miles. That seems strange. Give me a second to work this out. Okay, so I figured out where the error was. So in our imperial conversion method, we have this integer and another integer, an integer dividing an integer, right? So Java is not smart enough to know that we want to double. So it's taking an integer and an integer, dividing it, producing an integer, and then converting that into a double. And so integers can't store decimal values. So what's happening here is it's basically creating an integer result. So that means it's chopping off the it's chopping off the decimal value. And so what we should really be getting is 1.8 something. But what we're actually getting is 1.0 because an integer can't store that 0.8. When we go to convert it to a double, it's just taking 1 and converting that into 1.0. So to fix that, what we can do is add a 0.0 onto this number here. And now Java is smart enough to know, hey, this is a double, this is an integer, we're casting it into a double, we're going to produce a double with this equation. So let's run it to see if that's true. Which system? We'll go imperial system, enter number of feet, 10,000. And there we go. So this is the actual conversion of 10,000 feet to miles. So yeah, kind of an interesting bug here. I didn't think that, oh, this is, an integer to an integer that's getting cast into a double. That's going to produce just 1 and then convert it over into 1.0 for a double. So once Java knows that this is a double, it'll produce a double. Not really related to functions, just a fun fact. But yeah, so in this tutorial here, we've shown you how to declare functions and invoke those functions in a program that produces a meaningful result here. Yes, you could have done this without functions, but to keep your code clean, it's always nice to have functions at your ready. It's a good skill to learn for being a developer. So I hope you learned something, and thanks.